Hi, welcome to my podcast, Becoming a Cut Flower Grower. I'm your host, Lydia, and I'm here to share my year of growing and selling cut flowers. I'll be giving you the lowdown on everything I'm doing and sharing all the highs and lows, the good times and the inevitable disasters, all in real time. Join me on my cut flower journey, starting right now. Hello and a very warm welcome to the latest episode. It's Tuesday, the 5th of May, 2026, and it's actually the afternoon. I am ahead of the curve because sometimes I do this at like 10 o'clock at night. I thought, no, I will do it now. It's 5:30, which probably means I've forgotten to do something else really important because I wasn't expecting to be free. Anyway, welcome to the episode. I hope you had a great weekend. We had a little bit of rain. In fact, we had a lot of rain actually. Friday night, Saturday, enough certainly to soak the ground, but not enough to help refill the water bowsers, unfortunately. It's kind of topped them up, but the best thing is that it's just soaked everything on the ground, which is amazing. Gave me a break from the watering. I have been sick as a parrot all weekend as well. You know, I had a cold last week and it's just taken a while to get over it, which is why my voice still sounds a little bit ropey now. I actually got some baby goldfish over the weekend. My other half had his pond cleaned out and tidied up, and there were lots and lots of babies in there and they weren't wanted. So most of them have gone off to the pond cleaning man. He does something with them. He rehomes them. And I've got a few of my own, which is amazing because I used to have a goldfish. I had Fred for 8 years and then he disappeared from the garden one day. And it's an absolute mystery how he disappeared because there's plenty of tree cover and a plastic heron. Anyway, I was devastated about that. Haven't had any since. So they've gone into Belfast in the garden, which is very exciting. And I had to steal the plug from the duck bath. So I had to decant because Screwfix was closed yesterday because of the bank holiday. So I had to empty out the duck bath of all the dirty water, put that into a massive plastic dustbin, and then steal the plug for the Belfast for the fish. So this is the only advantage of being on a slope, is that you can transfer water from one place to another very, very quickly just by tipping it out. And the force of gravity on that slope, I had a really long piece of gutter and whoomph, it was gone in a second. Now, I've spent quite a bit of time on the plot over the weekend. I have lots to tell you. So I am very excited to say that my first hardy annuals have actually been planted out. These were the ones from the sowings that I did on the 6th of March, the 16th of March, and then the 3rd of April. And I'm sure you'll be thinking, oh, that's late. Everybody else has already got theirs out. And you're probably right. Every time I look on Instagram, somebody is always a month ahead of me. And I did have this issue last year. I was late for everything last year. In my defense, it was my first year. And this is only my second year, but I was going to be early this year. And I don't quite know what's happened because I did start sowing in March, but there we are. These things happen. What I'm hoping is that I will just be late with everything again. And therefore, when everybody else has run out, I will have supplies. And I'm hoping that the florists will get excited about a particular type of flower and then it'll be out of stock with everybody, but I will have some. Anyway, that's what I'm hoping. So my agrostemma have gone out. The ammi have gone, stocks, scabious and saponaria. Those saponaria are really odd that I really can't get my head around them at all. They're the only seedling I've got where they've just bent over, the whole lot of them. As soon as they come up, they bend over and then they grow from the bent over bit. It's very odd. So I'd love to know if you grow saponaria, what your experience of them is. Maybe that's just what they do. I don't know. It just looks a little bit alarming to me. I have got some more to go in as well. These were just like literally the first few batches that I've done. I think I've done six batches or successions or whatever. So there's plenty more in the greenhouse ready to go, but those are the ones that have been hardened off and definitely needed to go in. And then I have covered them with some temporary netting just to deter the pigeons, because I've said this to you before, everything looks really big when it's in the greenhouse. Even when it's hardening off, everything just looks like a really great seedling size. And then you take them up to a 1 acre field and suddenly they all look absolutely tiny. And they just look like something that the pigeons would come and just remove really, really quickly. So I've just fashioned some netting and draped it over the top of them just to keep the pigeons away till they get their roots in. I've found a surprising number of cornflowers which have self-seeded all over the plot, obviously in the most inconvenient places. So they are right in the middle of beds. They're in the middle of pathways. They're all over the place. I do think it's interesting. They look incredibly healthy, vigorous plants, and they've already got flower buds on the top, which is amazing. But it does kind of make me question the whole seed sowing thing that I do. I think I don't quite know why I don't just direct sow everything in the autumn and let it all over winter, because the things that self-sowed, I've also got tons of marigolds, so I'm not doing marigolds this year. I did them last year. I had a very pretty one last year. Can't remember the name of it, but it was very nice, but it was just incredibly short, so it wasn't particularly helpful. It did go off in some bud vases to a wedding, but it was disappointingly not long enough, so I haven't grown them again. They've all self-seeded all over the place as well. So I'm going to give some thought to what autumn sowings look like, because clearly to make an early start, you really need to have everything autumn sowed or have it in a tunnel or some kind of protected environment. But judging by how well the cornflowers are doing, I would love to have a whole load of those, because out of that tray of black cornflowers that I collected last year, I think I've got about 4 germinated. Very, very disappointing. I have got another stash that I might just sow again, or I might just toss them on the ground in the autumn and see what happens. Now, the old perennials have been officially staked. I'm very excited about this. I didn't do any staking last year, and lots of things fell over. Actually, no, that's not true. I staked the cornflower, but I didn't use netting. I made some kind of structure with string, and it took absolutely ages and would have cost me a fortune in labour if I'd actually been calculating labour costs last year. So this year I've been out and I've actually just bought some netting from my local garden centre, and it's 10 metres by 2 metres, and I thought, well, that's good because my beds are 1.2 metres, so I'll just cut it in half lengthways and then I'll have 20 metres for the price of 10. But the reality, of course, is that unless you have loads and loads of supports running about every, well, I don't know, 50 centimetres or 1 metre down the length of the bed, the netting all contracts into the centre. And I realised that just before I cut it in half. Good job I didn't do that before I started. So 2 metres actually just covers a 1.2 metre bed with some stretching out to the sides, obviously. So I do need to actually go and buy some proper netting, because the price of the 10 metre roll that I bought is, I'm not spending that much money to do every single bed. But I'm pleased to say that the Achillea, the pink one, the Achillea, the pearl, the Eryngiums, the Heleniums, they are all now netted. And I've got to say, as soon as I put the netting on and I used my road pins to put it on, stretched it over, it instantly made the plot look more professional. Just having one bed netted was an absolute game changer. I just kept staring at it going, ooh, I actually look like somebody that knows what they're doing here. So that is the power of netting and staking. Suddenly you go from being just somebody that's growing some pretty flowers to somebody that actually looks like they are doing things properly. So I'm so incentivized to go and get some more netting and carry on doing that. My other half was on the plot yesterday. He cleared another couple of square meters of nettles for me. It's a very slow process. I can't do anything about that. I just have to let him get on with it. I don't even look. I just face the other way and get on with what I'm doing, because he is doing a very, very excellent job and the soil is beautiful underneath. Now, I've got a disappointing number of alliums that have come up. The rats didn't eat them, but they just don't seem to have enough flower heads on for my liking. It's very strange. I don't know if bulbs have been a bit funny for everybody over winter. I know lots of people have had problems with short tulips, which made me feel slightly better about my tulip disaster. But I've got about, I think it's 100 alliums that I bought, so not very many at all. And they're in a huge, massive tub, lots of compost, and they've grown really nicely, kept them nice and watered. They seem absolutely lovely, but just, a disappointing number of heads on those. So we'll see if some more pop up. I was hoping to actually keep some and dry them and have them for sale later in the year, but the way it's looking at the moment, I'll be lucky if I even have enough to put a bunch together to sell them in summer. And the other frustrating thing that's happening up there is that one of the hens, Danny's in with Mo Lee, Kung Fu Mo Lee, and she manages to get out of her enclosure, and she goes around not the flower area, actually, thank goodness. She can't get into that, although she probably could if she really put her mind to it. And I haven't worked out where she's getting out, but she goes around and just scuffles through everything and has a ferret through all the pots and Her latest thing is to scratch all the bark away from one of my climbing roses, which is very irritating. And I don't know what I'm going to do about it, because her enclosure with Molly's got a net on the roof, so it's designed to keep her in. She's one of the babies that I had a couple of years ago, and she's as light as a feather. I call her a little pigeon. She's Kylie's twin sister, and she can just fly over absolutely anything and clearly squeeze through gaps. So I thought I'd blocked everything off, but she's the only one. But there is always one cheeky bird. Now, in the greenhouse, the next group of annuals that are ready to be hardened off have come out and hardened off. So I've got a big table outside the greenhouse. And now that the first lot of hardies have gone, the table is now empty. So that means I can start emptying stuff out of the greenhouse and get them hardened off. And tell you the other thing that's really interesting that I noticed when I was planting out over the weekend, because I'm writing everything down. As you know, I'm keeping a log of everything. And it's really, really interesting. Because I've been recording the number of seeds I've sown in a tray, say 40, for example. And then some of them I've potted on. So then you record, you've actually ended up with 33 or 35 seedlings. And then when it comes to actually transplanting them out in the field, it's very interesting to record the number that actually make it to the field. And it's very easy now to see how the numbers fall as that process goes along. So I'm going to update all of those into my spreadsheet so that I can actually see the numbers that I've got on the field at any given time. So I planted 281 plants out, but I didn't calculate how many seeds I'd actually sown to end up with that many transplants. So I will look that up. Now, the seeds that I sowed on the 20th of April are extremely slow to germinate. It's probably the heat, I'm thinking, because it was absolutely baking hot that week and the week after it. And it did get pretty overwhelming in the greenhouse. There wasn't space to bring everybody out because, of course, the hardy annuals were on the table hardening off. So the doors were open, the roof's open, the side vent is, the entire window pane is missing. So it is very well ventilated in there, but it was just obviously extremely hot. And I was running around and didn't soak the floor, which is a really great way of dropping the temperature really quickly in a greenhouse. So I didn't do that. So I'm hoping now that the temperature has fallen, and it's really fallen quite a lot. It's only 16 degrees today, and it should be, I think, 14 tomorrow. So that's a bit of a shock. I might actually leave the greenhouse door shut tomorrow. I'm hoping that things will now germinate and that they haven't just roasted to death in their trays, because that would be awful. I'm going to carry on sowing now, more half hardies now. I think I'm probably going to stop with hardies and just concentrate on the half hardies and the tenders. So I've got more pro-cut sunflowers to do, lots and lots more zinnias to do, and also a lot more cosmos as well. And I'm thinking actually that when the agrostemma is finished and it comes out of the bed that it's in, the zinnias could go in their place. Now, if you're a follower of Lisa Mason Ziegler in the States, if you've got her book, I know that she turns her beds more than once in a season. And I have never done this before, never experimented with it. And in fact, last year I was guilty of keeping things in beds way, 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 way longer than they should have been. So the Nigella, which was a disaster, they took ages to get going, and then they weren't ready for the wedding that I was planning to use them for. And then I left them in there for the seed pods to form. And then we had tons and tons of rain at the end of the drought last year. They were all looking amazing. And then the rain came, everything got very wet and soggy, and I ended up pulling the whole lot out and just chucking it. But what I should have done after I couldn't sell them for that wedding and they started to go is just lift the whole lot and compost them and get shot and put something else in their place. Now, I'm feeling a bit more confident about doing that this year. It's one of those things that it could be the hangover from being, a gardener and just thinking, keep things in as long as you possibly can before you swap them out for the next thing. Now, I don't do lots of bedding, but I have a couple of jobs where I am responsible for putting bedding in troughs or bedding in pots or planters. And I tend to wait till the very last minute to take things out in order to get the next lot of things in that go in, say, when the frost is gone or when they're ready, whatever. And I think I brought that hangover up to the field and thought, oh no, I'll just keep them in there. and I really should have just been ruthless. So I'm looking already at the agrostemma, which is really mean, actually. I'm looking at it thinking, well, as soon as you guys are done, you're out of there and someone else can go in your place. Now, I had a question from a listener. My florist interview, has she missed it? And I'm pleased to say no, nobody's missed it. I have not done it yet. I know I was very excited about it and I asked you all for your questions, and then I just did not get around to arranging the interview. So I will do that. You haven't missed it. There is still time to send any questions in. And I'm very excited about doing that. I think it'll be brilliant. I have a whole load of questions to ask Jo myself as well. And I think you will really enjoy that. Now, one final thing before I go. I went to see Devil Wears Prada 2 on Sunday. Got to say, I don't know if you've seen it. Oh, wasn't as great as I thought it was going to be. And I'm very sad to say that because I had high hopes for it. It was far too much like the original, to be honest. I don't know why it's so difficult to do a good sequel, but it does seem to be. Anyway, that's it for me. I'm going to head up to the plot now. I've got some hardy annuals from the weekend that I didn't have time to get in, so I'm going to go and put those guys in now. And I've got a car full of layers, pellets and mixed corn and shavings for the chickens, so they can all have a great big dinner tonight. And also, very exciting news, I have one padron pepper that's come up. So the aubergines have actually done quite well. They loved it in the heat wave. They came inside and it was very hot in here, and they've all germinated. And I only have one padron pepper, which makes it the most expensive one on the planet. And hopefully he will turn into something spectacular. So that's a 1 out of 10 germination for the padrons. I had no idea they were going to be so complicated. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the rest of the week and that you get rain if you need it or sunshine if you need it, and that you'll come back and join me for the next episode on Friday, because you're always very, very welcome. All the best.